Hi there, my name's Jim, this is my shed and you're welcome to it. And hello, I've completely lost track of what episode we're on, so welcome to episode insert correct number here. Today we're looking at getting the sheet metal work done on the floor, so getting the floor cut out and the seat mount and the new flat section of floor welded in. I'm rediscovering how much I dislike sheet metal work. It's really not my forte, and I wish I'd bought a MIG welder to go along with the TIG, because it would have made life so much easier. But we got there. It's all looking okay. I have to announce, I should say, a bereavement. The jeans I've been wearing up until this point, I've had to pass on their way and thank for their service. My wife pointed out after the last video that you could actually see my nuts peeking out from the split in my jeans. So before we had any serious slips, I thought I'd better get a new pair of trousers. So I've done that. So no, if anyone else noticed it, yeah, it's been dealt with. Yeah, and on that interesting note, I guess we'll get on with the video, so enjoy. Before I start marking out, I thought I'd just go over what my plans were for this area. Initially I was going to cut it out in one piece, which is why I bought such a big lump of steel, which you might have seen in the background in some of the videos. But if I do that, there's a chance that I think if I cut whole middle of the floor out, the shell might start moving. So I'm going to do it in three separate sections. There's going to be the front section where my feet go and it goes up the bulkhead, tapered section where the tunnel goes down to the floor level, and then the rearmost where the seat's going to sit. Now, laterally, is that lateral? Oh, that's lateral. Longitudinally, the seat's going to sit in the same position as standard, because the steering wheel is going to be in roughly the same place as standard in the seats. The pedals just moved across. So, going to line up with the seat mounts, but these ones are too high. When I had the original seats in there, to get the angle of the seat right, I had to jack the back right up, and it was too high. My head was hitting the ceiling, all wrong. So this front edge has got to drop. So I'm going to cut down to this level, leave this bar in because it gives a nice footrest for the people in the back. Down to this level, flat section all the way back here, so that the seat can just bolt down straight onto that flat bit. Then, as I say, then I'll do the bit tapers down to the floor, and then that bit in section, do it in three sections. So the first bit I'm going to do is the flat section here, where the seat's just going to bolt straight down onto. So let's get on with marking it out. Just marking out central positions, front and rear. I did start out by cutting down the level I was going to cut down to, and then ended up just cutting a big hole in the floor to remake the whole piece. Here's the piece I cut to fit in the hole that I cut in the floor, to see where I need to trim it and the floor so I can make them up in the neatest way possible. And you can see here where I've trimmed it and the floor and welded in the captive nuts for the seat mounting points. Just thought I'd share with you how someone who doesn't have a press brake forms a fold in a piece of sheet steel. So a bit of angle iron clamped in the vise, a bit of tube on the other side to hold. The angle iron's lined up with the fold line, as close as I can get it. To be honest, I'm going to struggle, because even at 1 mil thick, it's going to be quite hard to fold. So I'm not going to film the folding, because it's going to be quite brutal, but I will come back and show you the result. Fingers crossed, eh? And there we are. fold underneath. I had to clean it up because I had a few little tap marks, but actually came out better than I thought. Perfectly fine for going under the car, I think. And here's that piece with the angle on it folded in, welded in I mean. You can see where it just continues this cross member across the car and gives a nice flat edge for the front of the seat mounting plate to sit on. So next job I think is to tack that in. So that's now welded in everywhere that it touches, and I just need to make the pieces to fill in the gaps down to the floor. So it's time to get out the cardboard, make some templates, cut them out, weld them in. As you can see, I was really struggling to get a comfortable position where I could reliably do full weld on each of these runs. It was a real pain. This is one of the times I wish I had a MIG welder. It would be so much easier. Oh God. Right, back to it. All this struggling to get in a good position meant that I was constantly dipping the tungsten into the weld pool. Had to stop, come out, regrind it, start welding again, start fiddling around positions. So now this bit's welded in fully, move on to the next section. I've actually changed my plan, what I was going to do, to try and keep as much of the stiffness in the floor as I could. I wanted to keep as much shape, some depth to give it stiffness, but because I've changed and put this cross member in all the way across, that'll support the floor, so I don't need that anymore, so I can just go flat all the way along here. I put this cross member in because I made this sheet, as you saw earlier. When I welded in the captive nuts to put the floor on, of course, being a flat sheet, it just went all shapes. So I decided it would be a lot easier if I put a straight edge along here for me to weld to, so it would sort of hold this flat, and so all the, all the edges are holding it flat. It's a bit of oil canning. I might try and heat the middle and shrink that, but sheet metal work is not my thing, so that may or may not be on the agenda. It will hold the seat and it's fine, it's all welded in solid, and as I say, with this cross member the floor is probably stiffer than it was before. So yep, just flat now, straight all the way through, take the tunnel out. So I'll still do it in 2 sections to stop things moving around too much, but I'll just cut up to about here, do that flat, and then do the bit up the bulkhead. So let's crack on with that. And here's the flat piece made to go up to fill in that section of the floor. I put a little flange on the back edge of it just so it was easier to weld to the upright section on the bit that's already there. Then it's more fun getting in position to weld it down, hold it down, keep it flat, not lean on the floor so it bends it. More fun. Woohoo! And so now that bit's welded in, apart from those 2 back corners, which I'll do later. Now it's time to start cutting out the last bit of the tunnel. So back to the cutting. I started cutting out this section from inside the engine bay because there was a swage line I wanted to match up with on top, and then on the sides I had to miss the front subframe mounting points where they weld onto the chassis, so I had to easy to do that from the other side and then just finish off on top. I thought I'd just show you where I've cut out extra. So this section here, this is where the steering column came through the bulkhead originally. And as the steering column, instead of coming from that way, is now going to be coming from over there, from the middle of the car. This is obviously going to need to be in a different place. So I figured it'd be easier if I just weld all this up flat, and then I've made a template for the shape of the hole to fit the grommet. And I'll just cut that out, probably be here-ish somewhere, but I won't know exactly until subframe's in and the steering column sort of mocked up in place. But as I say, just be easier to make that flat, so fill all that in, and then at a later date I'll cut the hole as I need it. So I just cut out a sheet, roughly shaped it so it would hold itself in place, and then mark out with a pencil where the hole is, where I need to cut, and then cut it out with a generous allowance to allow for trimming and getting it to fit in the hole. Then finally shaping it and just gradually easing it over the corner of the bench to get the right bends that I need in the piece. So after much trimming, tapping about, I would say hammer and dolly work, but in this case my dolly was my trusty old club hammer, so I guess it was hammer and hammer work. But you can see that it's somewhere near, close enough all round that I can start tacking it at the bottom and then just adjust, just move it around at the top. And I have got a little gap at the top where I'm going to have to make another piece to fill in. You can see it from there, so you can see a gap at the top. So the length will change slightly as I tap it around and get everything to fit along the as we go up, and then I'll make a little piece to go in the top and fill in the gap. So I can start tacking that now. So that's everything inside welded, and now we move into the engine bay to finish off the rest of it. And a bit of a jump forward, but here's the under bonnet all welded up. Coat of primer on it just to keep the surface truss off. I'm not going to paint it white yet, wait till all the roll cage is in, but yeah, that's that bit done. Now onto the interior. Before I start painting anything in here, get the hoover out, give it a damn good clean, get rid of all this dust. And here we are. So that's seat mounting section done, flat floor all the way forward to the front where the pedals are going to go. So next job, I think, moving the pedals across. Now that was a lot of work. I realised not too much video. I made quite a few big jumps there, but as it's just a lot of cutting, grinding, welding in, tapping things around, making bits to shape, cutting, grinding, welding. It's a lot of very repetitive work to get the end result. But I think I got the big bits. You could see how I was forming the metal and the different sections as they went in, and how it was built up. Quite pooped today. I wanted to get at least primered before I sent this video out, which means it's a few days late. I'm aiming sort of 2 weeks to get each video out. It's as I say, a little bit late, but I wanted to get that major bit done. I know I said I'd do the rear seat mounts. I've bought the material to do that, but time. I've just, I'm done. I need a little break. I've got a busy weekend ahead, and yeah, take a little break from doing this because I've had quite a few days working quite hard on it. So I'm happy enough with the progress. Finish, may not be to everyone's taste, but as I've said before, sheet metal work's not my forte. It's solid. I think it looks fine. Certainly when the engine's in and when the subframe's in and carpet's all in, you won't see any of it. So any of the minor, where my welding's not perfect, or where I've, some of the metal I've had to form over to fit and mate, so it may be a little wrinkly here and there, but as I say, perfectly adequate for what I'm doing. Also, the section underneath the new seat gives me a perfect spot to mount my fuel filter, because my fuel system before was a little bit compromised in terms of pipe runs, but wiggly, had things trying to get, because I didn't have room to do everything in line. But now I've definitely got a straight in line. It's going to be beautiful, so that's a positive. I haven't painted under the car yet because I ran out of etch primer, but that's on order. As soon as it's in, I'll get the underside painted, but I couldn't show that anyway because videoing under the car is not going to happen, and it's hard enough for me getting under there working, let alone trying to set the camera up as well. So maybe a picture of it when it's done. Next major job, I think, as I said in the video, I think it's going to be moving the pedals across. That maybe next video will be something like that, and getting those rear seat mounts done, but we'll see. A couple of weeks, eh? By way of my weekly monologue that I said I wasn't going to do, Calm. London, what the actual are you? It's insane. I mean, I could see it happening. I live a mile outside London, so I don't get a vote, but not that it would have made a difference. Yeah, okay, I say I could see it happening, but honestly, what is going on? It's just absolutely insane. But there you go, that's politics. What can we do, eh? So that's it for this week, I think. Like and subscribe as always. Possibly leave a comment if you fancy, even if you just write comment, or tell me my welding is terrible, or tell me you like something, don't like something, think I should do something a different way. I'm quite surprised, given how odd what I'm doing is, that no one's commented or said, you know, had any comments on what I'm doing. But entirely up to you. But if you fancy it, leave a comment. It's great. So I guess it just leaves me to say cheers. Oh, no drink today. On the wagon for a bit, actually, to be honest. I was hitting it a bit too hard, and I'm having a little bit of time off. So yeah, cheers, good health, and I'll see you soon. Take care.